Let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation in which you needed some good, sound, practical advice? And I'm not talking about that advice where you have to have a doctorate degree or be some type of theologian or some deep psychologist or sociologist to understand and implement what they're talking about. But the times in which we just need some good, sound, practical advice that speaks to our particular situation and the particular time in which we are living. Anybody ever been there before? Yeah. You see, that's why I like the book of Proverbs. Because the book of Proverbs has tons of wisdom for all of us. There's some scriptures that you will probably be familiar with. There's one that says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thy own understanding, but in all ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. We're living in a situation right now where there's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of things that we really don't understand. Why is this virus wreaking havoc in our country the way it is? Why is it affecting my finances? The unknown is driving. Will I have enough money to pay my bills? Will I have enough money to pay my car note? Will I have enough money to pay my house note? Am I going to get laid off? But God says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thy own understanding, but in all ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. That's good wisdom for us in the times in which we're living in. There's another one that says that pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. If we find ourselves in a situation, it seems like we keep going around and around and around, and the only thing that we have in common with that situation is us, different people, different places, different opportunities, but we still find ourselves in this situation. And in our minds, we know that there could be something within us, but our pride is stopping us from actually doing the things that we know we need to do. I love that passage of scripture where it says pride goes before destruction. It says pride will bring us down. Pride will cause us to fall. And there's another place where it talks about the fact that the humble shall rise. That's all about the humility. What about this one? It says, many are the plans in a human heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Once again, we have our plans, we have our ideas, our thoughts about how things should work. And there's times in which we need to make sure that we're leaning upon God. God says that the plans that he has for us, the one that he wants to lead us. Somewhere else in Proverbs it says that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. It is God who guides us. There's all different types of wisdom in the Bible, and all different types of wisdom in the book of Proverbs for you and I. And it's something that picks right on what we're talking about and what we have been talking about here, and that is the subject of tact. Look at what it says about tact. Listen to this. It says, whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Okay. Whoever is able to keep his mouth, stay under control, don't blurting stuff out, is an individual who is able to keep himself out of trouble. How many people have found themselves in trouble as a result of opening up your mouth and allowing stuff to fly out that has no business flying out? Listen to this one. It says, do you see a man who is hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than for him. Proverbs 29:20. He says, if you can't learn to keep your mouth closed, then you are like a fool. If you're so hasty with your words, throwing your words around here and there, saying the first thing that comes to your mind, first thing that comes to your heart, he says there is more hope for a fool than it is for him. Look at one more. Listen to one more. It says, when words are many, transgression is not lacking. But whoever restrains his lips is prudent. Once again, it's talking about utilizing our words in such a way that it empowers people, that it impacts lives. Using our words in such a way that it moves the conversation forward. So, I mean, isn't that not what we've been talking about? Positive, productive communication. And positive, productive communication seeks to move the conversation forward in such a way, bring us together in such a way that it is empowering. And that's what tact does. You see, tact seeks to communicate in such a way that the other person can receive it. And if you're really talking about tact, tact is critical to our ability to create an environment that is conducive to positive, productive communication. Yeah. And by environment, I'm talking about a mindset, a heart that is so focused on who God is. A mindset and a heart that says, I am comfortable with being me. Yeah. I'm comfortable with being me in this particular surroundings. I don't have to act fake. I don't have to put on any airs. I don't have to talk a certain way, look a certain way, think a certain way, act a certain way. I can just be myself. All right. I can be my real, authentic self. Yes. When I'm around them, I don't have to talk to them in a certain way. I can just be her. I can be my silly, quirky self. Yeah. Why? Because they accept me for who I am. They see the value in me for who I am as an individual. They say, I am important. Not perfect, but important. And valuable. And as somebody who is valuable, I am worthy of them stopping what they're doing and listening unto me. I am worthy of them paying me some attention and giving me some respect. I am somebody who is valuable. Yes. Once again, not perfect. Not perfect. Because I may make some mistakes. I'm going to do some things wrong. I'm going to say some stuff I have no business saying. But because they value me for who I am as an individual, it doesn't matter. They understand that we're not going to be perfect. Not going to be perfect. But we don't have to judge them. We don't have to negatively condemn them because of who they are and what they've done. We can accept them. Yeah. And here's what that does. That builds a safe place for us. Safe place. You see, when you are valued, you are comfortable with being who you are. You're comfortable with being in your own individual skin. And now it's easier for me to communicate because I believe I'm valued and this is a safe place. Safe place. I can say the things on my heart. I can say the things in my mind. Why? Because it's comfortable and it's safe here. Yes. I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be criticized. I'm not going to be ridiculed. They're not going to laugh at me. They're not going to talk about me because my opinion is different than your opinion. Yes. This is a safe place. Right, yes. And now because it is a safe place, I want to share. I want to share the things that are on my heart, the things that are on my mind. I want to communicate. I want to connect with you. I want to communicate in a positive, productive manner. Why? Because it's safe here. Safe here. Think about it. Think about it. Think about that class that you were in. You ever been in one of those great classes and you had a good teacher and they had good, robust conversation and interaction in that class? It was such a good environment that you was excited about showing up at that particular class. You wanted to go. You wanted to contribute. You wanted to participate. You couldn't wait to get there to share the stuff that you had read at home, that you had learned about. You wanted to participate with the class and show them the things that you had learned. Excuse me, the things that you had learned. It was a safe environment.
Yes.
How about a job? Ever been on a job where they value you? They value what you bring to the table. And not only do they value that, but they empower you to do those things. They give you room to look at particular situations and see a process that could use some improvement. Provide your input and then enact that particular input. There's room for you at that particular. How did that make you feel at that particular job? Have you ever been a part of a ministry in which you just felt welcomed? Like you were really a part of the group? Like you mattered? Like they really cared for you? You ever been a part of the ministry where you're not just a number on the roll? You're not member number 151. You're just not tithing envelope number 355 who gives $400 a month, but you are somebody. And you are somebody who is valued, and they care for you, and you can tell that they genuinely love you. It's that mindset right there that brings us unto it. That type of environment right there is like a magnet. It's like a magnet just draws us unto him. And we just want to be connected in that environment. And we want to be there. And we want to make sure that we are showing up. So you don't have to call us for that. We show up.
Yes.
Because we like the environment.
Yes.
And we like how we feel in the environment.
Yes.
And we like how the environment empowers us and allows us to do the things that we were created to do. Listen, that's the type of environment that we are creating right here at Exhort Community Church. We are creating an environment where you are welcome. You can come as you are, bring your gifts, bring your talents, bring your mindset, bring your heartache, bring your pain, and we just gonna love on you for who you are.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you've been through.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter what you've done.
Yeah.
But we just gonna love you for you.
Yes.
We're going to wrap our arms around you. We're going to tell you that you can do it, that you can overcome the various different things of life. We're not going to leave you by yourself. We will continue to love on you.
On you.
We're not here to use you because you have a particular gift and talent, but we say that you are valuable.
Yes, you're valuable.
So we want to create a safe place for you. A place where you can walk in your particular purpose. And do the things that you have been created to do. An environment where you can grow in the things of God. An environment where you can fellowship and do life together with other like-minded people. An environment where you can serve. And you can utilize the gifts and talents that God has blessed you with to be a blessing unto other people. That's the type of environment that we want to create. And it's that type of environment that is a magnet unto people.
A magnet.
You don't have to call them then. They want to show up for church.
Come on now.
They want to show up for Bible study. Right? They want to show up for intercessory prayer.
Yes.
They want to be a part. Why? Because it is an environment. You remember when you were dating, back when you was in middle school or in high school, you were dating, you were all in love. Do you remember that environment?
Yes.
And that mentality, it's the same thing. That environment that you were just so attracted to that you would do anything to be with that person, the same heart, the same mindset. We're trying to create this environment. So that being said, how do we do it? How do you create an environment that is conducive, that thrives, that's good for positive, productive communication? Let's jump into it. This is
Yes.
the first thing. Number one, we're going to stop defending and start evaluating. Stop defending and start evaluating. Some of us, it does not matter how much tact a person utilizes. It doesn't matter how much sugar, sweetener, how much honey a person puts on their message. We will always be offended. There's always going to be something wrong with the message. They're trying to share something with us, share a thought, share a mind, share their opinion about a particular situation. And in our minds, they are offending me. Yes. They're saying something to me I don't like. They're attacking my character. They're attacking my personality. They're attacking the way in which I see that particular situation. And I can't believe they're doing such a thing to me. I thought we was cool. I thought we were down. And now because they said something to us that we don't necessarily like, it's causing all different types of friction. It wasn't a harsh statement. It was just their opinion. But because we are so sensitive and so quick to defend ourselves, that is causing trouble in the relationship. So here's what we do. We turn around and we try to turn the situation back towards them. Okay. We start defending each and everything that they say. We cut it up. We criticize it. There's no way that can be there. What we're doing is we're doing everything that we can to protect ourselves and our heart. So now we're defending ourselves, and as we defend ourselves, we can't have any real good, wholesome, meaningful conversation. Why? Because we're always defending. I got this barrier up, and with this barrier up, I'm making sure I'm not allowing you to get too close to me to cause me all different types of problems and issues. So I am going to defend myself. And that is like poison inside that environment. Because I can't communicate with you with the shield up. I can't communicate with you if you have this barrier around your heart. I can't communicate with you if you've got this big old helmet on your head that's not allowing any information in. Why? Because you are so busy defending yourself. But what if we stopped defending and started evaluating? Yes. Is what they said really true? Does it have any merit? Am I really defensive all the time? Am I inconsistent? Do I make commitments and then don't follow through on those commitments?
Yes, that's good.
Are they saying things that are actually true? And are they saying things that they're not the first person to say it, that other people have said the same thing also? Are they sharing with me the stuff that's really real that I really don't want to receive, but it's true? You see, the moment that we start evaluating is the moment that we can start to grow. The moment in which I can say, let me look at myself. Let me hold the mirror up in my face. Yes. Does this fit me? If I can drop my pride low enough to say, does this fit me? Yes. That's when the growth begins. Yes. Because as I allow myself to see my real self, then I can actually do the things necessary to get rid of that stuff and begin to grow. Come on. But growth doesn't come if I'm hiding behind a shield.
Lord Jesus.
Growth does not come if I'm standing behind the shield, throwing arrows at the other person, trying to prevent them from saying truth unto me. But growth comes when I make myself vulnerable.
Yes, it does.
When I open up my heart and I listen for the purpose of evaluating.
That's good, Andre. Self-evaluation.
Does it make sense? Are they really talking about me? Does this really fit me? Yes, it does. How can I grow in this area? So number one, a way to create that environment that's conducive for positive, productive communication. Stop defending. Start evaluating. Number two, stop being right and start relating.
Good.
Stop being right
Stop being right.
and start relating. There's a story about a mother and a daughter. And the mother had this tendency to exaggerate something. So they just had this party. And when they had this party, after the party, they began to talk about all the various different events that took place. And the mother said, well, there was about 30 people at the party. The daughter quickly corrected the mother and says, no, mother, there were only 13 people at the party. The brother tapped her and said, doesn't matter. And she thought about that. He says, what do you mean, doesn't matter? Yes, it matters. She needs to be corrected for her own good. The brother taps her again, leans in. Well, do you want a relationship with your mother, or do you want to be right? Do you want a relationship with your mother, or do you want to make sure that your mother knows that you can count all the different heads inside the room? Do you want a relationship with your mother, or do you want your mother to know that you know exactly how many people were in the room? Some of us have this tendency to want to correct people all the time. We have this insatiable desire that no matter where we are, we want to make sure that we're saying the right thing, and also that the person who is communicating with us is saying the right thing. That they've crossed all of their T's and dotted all of their I's. They've said everything perfectly. And as we begin to do that, we begin to push people away. They don't want to talk to us because we're always correcting them. They don't want to share things with us because we're always fixing them. They don't want to have any deep, profound conversations with us. They don't want to hang out with us because they know as they begin to talk, here comes another life lesson that we're going to try to give them. But what if we stop trying to be right all the time and start relating? Relation says all the facts don't matter all the time. Did it really matter whether there was 30 or 13 people at the event? Nobody was going to get paid. No census was being taken. It was just a family event. And if the mother saw that it was 30 people in her eyes, it was 30 people in her eyes. The most important part was the relationship. The most important part was her willingness to share what was going on. When she said, did you see little Tommy? Did you see Jimmy? And how Jimmy has grown so much? Did you see Big Mike? Did you see Lucy or Sally? And you see what Sally has done. Can you believe that Susie is going to Harvard? As they began to share about all the different things that they saw in the party, that's building relationship. And if you sit there and you criticize people, it does not create an environment that allows them to share. So we got to be able to say, I know. All of it may not match up. I may see it differently, but is it really worth me criticizing? And for those of us who are super analytical and we analyze everything, we got to be able to say the relationship is more important. It's not about all the information. It's about the relationship. And if it really doesn't matter, is it really worth me creating a poisonous environment just so I can be right? Me being right is not the most important thing. The relationship is the most important thing. Amen? Look at the third one. Stop blaming and start owning. Stop blaming and start owning. You remember the story of Adam and Eve? God puts them in the garden and tells them that they should not eat of that forbidden tree. You can eat of all the other trees in this garden, but this one tree right here, you cannot eat from that. Satan comes along, utilizes that curiosity that they have, that all of us have, against them. Tempts them, and they begin to eat of that forbidden tree. God shows up, and God says, listen, didn't I tell you not to eat from that tree? Adam, did I not tell you not to eat from that tree? What does Adam do? It's this woman, Eve. She the one did it. She the one made me eat from the tree. And then what does Eve do? It's Adam's fault. I'm sorry, it's the Satan's fault. It's the serpent's fault. He the one made me eat of the forbidden fruit. Everybody is playing the blame game. And we have found ourselves in that situation as well. We begin to blame others for everything. It's not my fault, it's your fault. And that person says, it's not my fault, it's your fault. It's not my fault, it's your fault. We find ourselves passing the buck. You ever been on a job and the finance department says it's not my fault? The logistics department says it's not my fault. The app team says it's not their fault. Nobody wants to own the issue. And here it is, the issue is sitting right there in the middle, laughing at us. Because everybody involved is saying it's not my fault. And the issue is sitting here and it does not get addressed. We're all blaming everyone. We all know that there is an issue, but nobody wants to take ownership of the issue so that it can be resolved.
Nobody.
But what if we stop blaming and start saying, let me take some ownership. Let me take some ownership of my part of the situation. This is what I did wrong. This is how I contributed to the situation. Let me stop blaming other people and let me start taking ownership. Let me own it. You see, and once we begin to do that, then we can really truly get to the bottom of it. Then we can really truly address the particular issue. Because now we're saying, I see my part. I see what I did wrong. Let me evaluate myself. Let me stop defending myself. And let me see what I can do.
What can I do
to fix this issue? Let me see how I can gather some resources to make sure that this issue gets addressed.
Amen.
But I have to stop passing the buck to do that.
All right.
I got to stop blaming other people to do that. And says, let me take ownership of my part. Guys, we got to say, let me take ownership of my part. Ladies, let me take ownership of my part. It's not my parents' fault. It's my fault. What did I do? How can I contribute? It's not my team's fault. Supervisors, managers, it's not always your team's fault. What is it that you can do to create the environment that you're looking for so that they can provide that positive, productive communication? Everybody has to play their part. And everybody has to take ownership of their particular actions. So this is the last one. Stop criticizing and start encouraging. Stop criticizing and start encouraging. Some of us have this mindset to where we are just so eager to criticize people. We live in a society, we live in a world where millions of dollars, multi-million-dollar businesses are founded on the principle of criticizing people.
Yes.
Think about the sports talk industry. They sit back every Monday morning and criticize everything that happened on Sunday.
They do.
Why didn't Cam throw the ball this way? Why did the coach make this decision? Why didn't such and such make that tackle? It's all about criticizing. They get paid just to be critical of others. What about when you turn on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC? Those pundits that are sitting there are getting paid to be critical of everything that's done. Every decision that the president makes, every decision that Congress makes, every decision that our local government makes, they get paid to criticize and make their opinion known unto us. And many of us are the same way.
Yeah.
We see situations and we want to criticize.
Yep. Easy.
We want to make sure that we let you know what we think about what you have done.
Yes, Lord.
And just like the others, that is poison to an environment.
It is.
But why do I want to talk to somebody who is constantly criticizing me? Why do I want to share my thoughts, my opinions with somebody who is constantly criticizing me? Why do I want to even communicate with somebody who's going to take my opinion, slice it up, dice it up, do everything that they need to make sure that they look good in front of me? Why do I want to do that? So then once again, as we begin to become critical of people, we push them away. We don't draw them to us with our communication. We're not drawing them to us with our ability to listen, but we are pushing them away by being critical. But what if we stop criticizing and start encouraging? Look at what the great Apostle Paul says here. Look at this verse. Ephesians, the 4th chapter, verse 29. Listen what he says. It says, let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Paul says, let no corrupting word come out of your mouth. All right. He says, all that junk that's on the inside of your heart, that negativity, that criticalness, all that stuff that's in there, that defensive mentality, he says, get rid of all that stuff. Don't allow that stuff to flow out of your mouth. But what you want to allow to flow out of your mouth is words of encouragement. Words that build up. Words that make people feel better about themselves. Words that allow people to look at situations differently. Yes. Anybody can be critical. Anybody. But can you use the gift of communication that God has blessed you with to encourage somebody? To empower somebody? Can you look at the situation and say, even though we disagree on the situation, I can communicate in such a way that you can not only receive it, but I can communicate with you in such a way that it becomes a magnet and I can empower you. I can encourage you. It doesn't have to be a negative situation, but that we can grow in the situation together. We can encourage one another. We can empower one another. All right. Here's the thing that we have to do. As we look at ourselves, as we stop defending, as we begin to evaluate the various different situations that are going on, we have to have the mindset that I'm not going to criticize, but I'm going to look for the good in the individual.
Look for it. It's there.
You see, negativity has a way of clouding everything that we see. I'm a big proponent that we can do 8 things right, but those 2 things that we do wrong will be the thing that clouds everything else in our eyes. Our friend can do 1 thing wrong, and that's all we will remember about them.
That's it. Yep.
Our supervisor can do 10 things right for us, but once they do one thing wrong, that's all we're going to remember.
One thing.
The church member can do a ton of things right, but that one thing they do wrong, that's what we're going to remember. And every time we look at them, we see that.
Yes.
Negativity has a way of clouding our view. But what if we begin to peel behind it?
Peel.
Push that negative stuff away.
Push.
And say, I see the goodness on the inside of you.
Yeah.
I see the intellect on the inside of you. The way you look at things, that's very interesting. It's a little different, but it provides a different perspective on the situation.
Yes.
I like your opinion. It's a little different than my opinion, but I like your opinion because it adds something to the conversation. I see joy on the inside of you. I know what you are projecting is pain because of some past situations, but I see the joy on the other side of the pain. I see somebody who's timid right now because they've been hurt, but I see somebody who's great on the other side of that timidness. There's good stuff.
Good stuff.
But we have to go looking for it.
Gotta go get it.
We got to move the negativity.
Move it.
Move the pain.
Move it.
Move the frustration.
Move it.
Move all the stuff they've done. And say, I'm not going to be critical of you, but let me see how I can use my words to build you up, to empower you.
All right. That's good.
You remember Jesus? Jesus told Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. He said, Peter, I know you're going to go fight. I know you believe in me, and you believe that you're so gung-ho, but before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times.
Yes.
And as the story goes, Peter does just that.
Yes.
But when they get together on that river, and it's time to restore Peter, Jesus talks to Peter and begins to encourage Peter and utilizes his words to put Peter right back in his proper place.
Yes. Jesus
could have condemned him, could have used his words to cut him up. I thought you said you were going to be there with me forever. But when I really need you, you ran and you abandoned me. But no, he didn't do that. He saw the good inside of Peter. He saw that Peter was a leader. He knew what Peter was going to become. He knew that Peter was the rock upon which his church would be built. He just needed to restore Peter.
Right.
And I just want to encourage you, don't look to break people down, but look to build people up.
Yes. Yes.
Don't be in such a hurry to criticize and to be critical.
Yes.
But be in such a hurry to utilize our words as a means of encouraging others.
Yes.
Stop criticizing and start encouraging.
Yeah.
Amen. That builds the environment. When we stop blaming and start owning,
Own it. Own it.
it builds the environment. When we stop defending ourselves and start evaluating ourselves, it builds the environment.
It builds.
When we stop trying to be right all the time and start relating to others, it builds the environment. Once again, it's about the relationship.
Yes, it is.
It's about the relationship. And as we learn to say, I am not going to allow the things that flow out of my mouth. I'm not going to allow my pride. I'm not going to allow the way I see things to hinder the relationship. But I'm going to create an environment where a conversation is good right here.
Yes.
I'm going to create an environment where people want to communicate with me.
Yes.
People want to tell me things. And people want to listen to what I have to say. On my job as a supervisor, as a manager, I want to create an environment where everybody is valued. In my home, I want to create an environment where everybody feels valued and everybody feels safe. In my ministry, I want to create an environment where everybody feels valued and everybody feels safe. That there's no big I's and no little U's. And that nobody feels like they're getting beat up or left behind. But that everybody feels comfortable in who they are. in what God has created them to be. Environment. And that's my challenge to you. Create an environment.
Yes.
Make yourself a company, an industry of one. It says, I'm going to start creating an environment to where people want to talk to me.
Yes.
And they want to listen to me.
Yes.
So I become a magnet that just draws people unto myself. Not for my own good, but for his good.
For his glory.
Because there's things that he wants to do with me. And the way in which he can do them is by me surrendering my will, surrendering my mindset, surrendering myself, and say, God, you can use me.
Use me, God.
I am a vehicle that you can utilize for your glory. I'm not somebody going to be blaming everyone. I'm not going to be defending myself all the time. I'm not going to be critical. I'm not trying to be right all the time. But I just want to be a vehicle and a vessel that you can use for your glory.
Amen.
Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you for who you are in our lives, God. We thank you for being our King and our Lord, God. We thank you for being our Master, God. We thank you for the word that you brought forth on today. We needed that word, Father God. Now, Father God, help us take the nuggets and apply them to our own individual lives, Father God. Help us walk according to your word. Remind us we're not walking according to your word or your deeds. Help us see ourselves. Not point fingers, not defend ourselves, but help us evaluate ourselves so that we may grow in you, Father. God, we love you, we honor you, and we praise you. It's in your Son, Jesus Christ, in that we pray. Amen, amen, and amen.